Aina Chuida Haipi, Hochonk Rajga Hinakpi Hingade. On this Indigenous Peoples Day, I greet you all in my Ho-Chunk language. For translation, what I said to you was, it's great to see you all here. My Ho-Chunk name is Good Woman. Some of you might know me otherwise as Tricia Zunker. I'm here today, I'm here today to formally announce my candidacy as a Democrat in the 7th Congressional District special election. First, I want to thank you all for joining me here today in this beautiful location. This place has deep personal meaning to me. Growing up, we didn't have a lot of money for entertainment, but this is a place my family could come to and enjoy. I firmly believe that we need to protect our beautiful environment, lands like these, lands that exist throughout the 7th Congressional District. My Wisconsin roots run deep. I was born and raised in Wausau. For generations, my family has worked this land and been a fabric of this community. I'm running for Congress to be a voice for the people of Northwest Wisconsin, people like the family farmers and the working people I come from. I learned the importance of hard work and a fair day's pay from my family. My mother, who joins me here today, is a proud union member for over 30 years on USW Local 2-224, including 10 years as union secretary, over 10 years as union secretary. My father was a laborer with special carpentry skills. And my grandfather, who farmed near here in the town of Easton after serving in the U.S. Army. He also served in the Army Reserves for 36 years and retired as Master Sergeant. I am a first-generation college graduate from UW-Madison, where I worked hard, graduating with 3 majors and a certificate in 4 years while working. I then went on to graduate law school. I used that law degree to serve my people as Associate Justice of the Ho-Chunk Nation Supreme Court and as a professor. I'm also a member of the Wausau School Board. I first came to them as a local mom, concerned about the impact of skyrocketing food insecurity in our community and how that impacts our students' ability to learn. I felt more needed to be done, so I ran for a seat on the Wausau School Board, and I'm proud to now serve as president of the Wausau School Board. On the board, we don't look at things as Democratic or Republican ideas. We just focus on doing what's right for Wausau's children, teachers, and the community. And that is how I will represent all people of the 7th Congressional District, people over party. I have become increasingly frustrated watching what is happening in Washington because Wisconsin isn't getting a fair deal. Washington isn't delivering for families paying too much for health care, farmers who are being squeezed by the ongoing trade war, and seniors who are struggling to pay for prescription drugs. On health care, Republicans in Congress voted to take away coverage for people with pre-existing conditions and are backing a lawsuit that would destroy the protections of the Affordable Care Act. And some Democrats want to end private insurance and push everyone into a government-run system. I'm for Medicare for all who want it, a robust public option that allows people to choose what's right for their families. Neither party has effectively stood up to the drug and insurance companies to lower prescription drug costs. I'll take them on. I'll stand up for farmers, rural communities, and businesses across Northwest Wisconsin impacted by the trade war. We need to get tough on China, but it is not fair to keep asking our farmers to be patient while we all wait on Washington to get its act together. If elected, I'll work for the people of Wisconsin, not special interests. I'm not taking a dime in corporate PAC money in this race because corporate lobbyists are part of the problem in Washington, not the solution. Highly paid lobbyists are part of the reason that health care and prescription drug costs keep going up and families get squeezed. In Washington, if you can afford a lobbyist, you get a special deal. That won't be the case for me. I'll deliver a fair deal for the people of Wisconsin and end the special deals for big corporations and special interests. I've always been a hard worker, people of the 7th Congressional District deserve representation who will work hard for them. That person is me. Thank you.
All right. You know the drill. First things first, name and title, right?
Which title do you want me to use?
Candidate,
I guess so, right? And that's official now, right? I've got multiple. Tricia Zunker, Democratic candidate for the 7th Congressional District special election.
Absolutely. So how long has this been in the works, and I mean, what did it take to get to this day?
Well, it's a good question. In the works, it depends how you define that. I had intended down the road to run for this seat. It was something that I had considered in great detail when the timing seemed right. This happened. I had a lot of reflection over the last 5 weeks or so. Actually, since the day the resignation was announced, I've been thinking about it. But this has been in the works for a bit.
So, and you mentioned it a little bit during your speech. I'll ask you as well. I mean, you mentioned going in as a Democrat, but not taking on a party title per se. Could you explain what goes into that decision?
Well, I just think that there's so much division in party politics, and that's not what we're like here in the 7th Congressional District. We all want the same thing. We want to be able to afford our health care. We want to be able to ensure that we can feed our families without breaking the bank. We want to make sure that we have our farmers that stay in business, and we want to make sure that we have an environment that remains protected. That is not, to me, something that is a party issue. This is people over party.
And then you mentioned the health care. Go into detail with me on that, because you mentioned the public option, but then keeping the private insurance as well. What are some of the advantages to that?
Well, it allows people to retain their choice. People are entitled to have affordable, quality health care that they can make the decision on.
And then talking about, you were asked about the impeachment proceedings as well as going on in Washington. What were your thoughts on that?
You know, I just think that that's going to distract from this election. By the time we actually get to the ballot box in April or May, that's going to be long overdue. So I really don't see why the investigation is a concern here. But I do think that when people take an oath to uphold the Constitution, that is what they must do, regardless of party. That is something that you do as a person who has taken an oath.
And then mentioning going into this race and looking at things from a nonpartisan perspective, what are some of the things on the Republican side of the aisle that you could agree with, or things that you think you could find common ground and start to work with people in Washington? Because it seems like there's really not a lot of that goes on these days.
You know, that's a really good question, because I think that teamwork is so vital. On the school board, we're nonpartisan seats, but I work really well with people that probably don't identify as the same political party as me, and they're some of the people I work the best with. So I think it really just comes to having those conversations, ensuring that, hey, we can find a common ground here. So I think that opportunity is there.
So saying that, do you think Washington needs to be run more like a school board, so to speak?
That is a good question. I think it is always a good idea to remember your focus. We're here to serve the people. And with that in mind, find the common ground.
So on that note, I mean, running for the school board election, becoming school board president, now going to Washington, I mean, that's a big jump. I mean, how do you feel you're prepared to make that jump?
Oh, I'm incredibly competent. I'm a hard worker, I'm smart, I'm fierce, I'm determined, and I'm ready. I can do it.
And then your experience as well, working with the Ho-Chunk Nation Supreme Court, how does that help you?
Well, it's my legal background. I mean, what I do on the Ho-Chunk Supreme Court is I interpret and apply laws of the Ho-Chunk Nation, and it is just a very objective, reasonable application, and I think that's what is needed in Washington. People that are objective, that are reasonable, and that can see this is what's best for the people.
Looking at to your voters now, because really for the first time you're not just focusing on Wausau, you're focusing on the whole district. What do you want voters to know about you?
Well, I want them to know that this is where I'm born and raised. This is where I am from. And I grew up in a strong union household. I'm the granddaughter of a farmer. When I see what's happening to our rural, everyday people, to our farmers, it breaks my heart. And I could no longer sit back on the sidelines. I felt an obligation and a duty to use my experience, my ability, and my voice to serve the people of the 7th CD.
Anything else that you'd like them to know then about you before we let you go?
I'm looking forward to getting on this journey and earning the votes of the people throughout the 7th CD. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right,
Appreciate
thank you.
the time.
Yeah, thank you.